Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the second week of Lost Initiative. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Thank you for the host, Sam Bear. You guys are great. Appreciate it.
I was out of the room when you muted everyone, all right? I didn't know.
I actually have no idea if you were out of the room or not. But you guys could still talk to each other, couldn't you?
No.
Oh, really? You were just all muted to one another?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what was going on.
Ah.
Yeah, that was really confusing. We were trying to have conversations, and
I'm still
I
trying
was
to.
like, why am I muted? That must have been my accident. Unmute.
I'm just
Then I
shutting you
like,
down,
what?
basically, as best I can.
Mhm.
Anyway, as I was saying, thank you guys so much for coming back for episode 2. Lots of people are pumped for it. We have a good episode, a good show for you today. We're not going to give you too much pleasantries. The only thing I'm going to say before we get back right into the episode is that when the VODs go live, there will be, for the next 4 weeks at least, an episode 0 or a prequel to each week where Scott, the DM, takes one of us aside and he does a little solo one-on-one session, like 20-minute session that'll kind of lay out the groundwork for either where our characters are at the time or where they were before, just to kind of get a feel for our personalities one-on-one. So if you guys want to check that out, that'll be over on the YouTube channel. There's a link right below the stream now. You guys can go check that out. That being said, we're just going to jump into it. So Scott, where did we leave off and where are we going? Take it away.
So when last we left off, the 4 of you were just coming back from your adventure from before, your bloody adventure from before. You came back to the city. Rye thought it wasn't a good idea to walk through the gates, considering the poster and everything. So she went off a separate way, and you guys went through the gates. You made your way to the inn, walked in, saw the table that you were at before was empty. I believe it was Addo, ordered a round of drinks for everybody, and sat down. So just to rename all the characters, I believe everybody's names of their characters are above or below their heads. So
Right,
nice
yeah.
and easy. There you go. There you go, right there. So just to go over what everybody is again, we have Maggie playing Grommen. So Grommen being the half-orc barbarian. Mathis is playing the half-orc cleric.
Correct.
I'm pretty sure.
No, I said correct. You got it.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure you can guess what he's a cleric of. Then Strippin is playing the tiefling warlock, and then Bear is playing a halfling rogue. So
Bard.
just so you remember, everybody's playing.
Bard.
I'm sorry, Bard. Oh, whoa, Bard. On a bar and sing.
He's a
That's right.
musical rogue.
Bard.
I mean, yeah, mostly.
With magic powers. So when last we left off, everybody was kind of gathering around the table you were at before. Kind of absorbing the situation that you just kind of came through, whether you felt it was a success or not, that's between you guys. And as you were sitting down grabbing that table, Rye notices, oh, they didn't even see me. And they're all sitting at the table without me. So go right ahead.
Rise, she's hanging out at the bar. She turns around and sees you guys boisterously yelling and ordering drinks, and she just doozies on over and flips a stool around and sits on it backwards, like a cool kid, and joins the group.
Awesome. So again, you guys had just come back from your adventure from before. You know that this is where you had met with Forston before. So you know you're hoping to meet with Forston again here since everything has been completed. All sitting around the table. Do you want to unpack the situation that you went through? Somebody gonna try to poke around and see if they can find Forston? Where are we at?
Bear, you might be muted, people are saying, so check that.
I think I'm good now. Yeah.
Okay,
sorry.
cool. Well, the 3 of us just walked in, right? We didn't have any trouble. We just kind of came through. The only person
You actually came directly across town. So
Yeah.
as soon as you walked in that gate, you beelined it here as fast as you could to make your way. And when it's a city, it's difficult to navigate. This isn't your hometown by any means,
Yeah.
but you came straight here.
I
Yeah.
somehow beat you there, but you know it's not a thing.
to be honest, that wouldn't be that surprising. You seem like you know the city pretty intimately. I don't really say anything. I'll kind of like wait to see if any of you guys end up taking the lead. If any of you say anything at all to each other, go for it.
Oh,
Grommen's just going to be drinking, chilling.
I think Rye breaks the ice as she sits down. She just goes, "Miss me?"
Yeah, maybe Otto did.
Otto looks her up and down approvingly, although with a little bit of an inquisitive air to it. Speaks up, asks the question, the elephant in the room. Right, how the hell did you get here before us?
Ryder smirks and finishes her drink. She's probably upstairs.
I'll actually just like I'll hoist or wherever the chest is. I'll like go down and grab it if it's on the floor, and I'll pick it up, and I'll just look to you and just say agreed.
All right, and you guys make your way upstairs. Rye haven't finished her drink. Should grab another one on the way up.
No.
All right, so you guys make your way up the stairs to it was room number 3 before, and you go knock first or just walk right in.
I think Rye does her signature rat-a-tat-tat on the door, and then
Awesome.
waits with bated breath.
Grumman sees that you're doing this, and he just opens the door.
So as you're rat-a-tat-tat, he just goes over and grabs the door and opens it up.
Yeah.
And what you see on the other side is Forston with 2 other individuals, both human, who look very shocked that you guys just opened the door. Even Forston himself looks very shocked that you guys just opened the door.
I think even Rye's shocked. Her hand is like ready to make the final knock, and the door opens, and I'm just off balance. I just stumble into the room. And I'm just face with Forston.
Otto speaks up real quick. It's the second time this week I've seen you with that face, Forston.
So he quickly makes his way across the room, again gritting his teeth at Addo and his personality. Quickly makes his way across the room and says, "Did you not do it then?"
I'll put the chest on the ground, and with one foot put on front of it, I'll like push it towards him with the wood grinding on the wood. Yeah, and Grumman says, "Done."
He seems completely shocked, and he says, "Pick that up right now. Keep that to yourself. Go downstairs. I'll see you shortly."
Grumman picks it up.
Okay. And I imagine you guys just make your way downstairs very quickly.
Okay. Bear, can you bump your volume just a tidbit? People are saying you're quiet.
Sure.
Thanks. Yeah, I'll follow Grumman. Grumman will end up taking the lead then with the chest, and I will fall shortly behind.
So you guys go downstairs, probably a little bit baffled or confused at the moment. Maybe like 10 minutes later or so, the other 2 that he was speaking with leave, and that's kind of a cue for the rest of you guys to head back up, in which case when you do, he has the door open and he's waiting for you to come in. And when you do come in, he's much more, his face is much more settled. He knows he's prepared for you this time. And after you shut the door, last one in, whoever it may be, when they shut the door behind them, he says, "I honestly didn't expect you back that quickly."
What were you expecting? You gave us the time in which to attack, and it was appropriately timed.
It was handled very well then. So tell me details. What happened?
When he says details, Rye just goes, ugh. You don't want to know.
Hunt arrived, we kill them, we take stuff, we come back.
The wagon?
Burned. Corpses inside burned as well.
Good. Good. I have to say, I do apologize for before. I'm sorry for before. You completely caught me off guard. I honestly didn't expect you to come back that quickly. It's nice to see competence when you ask for it. May I see that chest now?
Grumman, you have it.
Yeah, he hands the chest over.
So you hand it over so he can look at it. He inspects it shortly and says, "There are some scrapes and scratches on this. No, none of you tried to open it, did you?"
It fell out of the wagon.
Ah. Well,
Otto grins a little.
Oh, God, no.
he says, "A deal is a deal and a job is done well." So he tosses each of you a sack of coins and he says, "And as I said, if you do it well, everybody will get equal pay." Tosses you each a sack of coins. You can feel the weight of it. You know that he had promised you the 50 gold before, and you can either count now or assume that that's what's inside there. And he takes a moment for you all to kind of like analyze what it is that he tossed your way. When he gets all of your attentions again, he says, "As a matter of fact, you did a job so well. Do you have that letter?"
Someone has a letter, yeah.
The one that I got. Is it the one with the emblem or?
Yes.
Okay. Grumman said, I'm not going to use the voice modulator because I think it's just too hard for people to hear.
Okay, sure.
Grumman's just like, Yes, and he like pulls it out of his bag and hands it over.
Awesome. So he takes the letter over. He sees that the seal hasn't been broken. He sees that everything is intact. He says, I'm very impressed with the work you guys did. As a matter of fact, I'm so impressed. I would like to offer you another job. Are you interested in working further? I promise that the pay would be even greater this time around.
Otto weighs the sack of coins in his hand and says, I think it's a little heavier than this. I think we could be interested.
It'll be at least twice that weight.
I'm like tying the sack of gold to my belt, and I'll look up and just kind of bluntly ask, is it more banditry?
It's complicated to answer that question. It's a yes and a no for this one. So there will be a little bit of banditry involved, though not exactly what you're thinking. I could lay out the details for you, and you can tell me what you think.
I'll just gesture.
Rye's kind of like looking out the window, and she sees some guards in the street below, like just walk through the crowd, and she just turns around. And she's like, "I'm in." So he takes a moment to let everybody come to their own conclusion that they'll at the very least listen to what it is that he's offering. And once they all seem to be in agreement, yeah, I guess we could tolerate each other a little bit longer. Then he says, so this next job does start with a robbery, but it's not exactly what you would believe it to be initially. You see, in this city, we do have this area in the warehouse district. It's a few buildings that are around each other. The wealthiest of merchants that either travel through the city often, or even some of the ones that live in the city, use this warehouse as a place to hold many of their riches, whether it be coin, supplies, prized possessions, whatever they may be. They keep it in town. These buildings are guarded by a mercenary group that's paid specifically to watch over them. So these rooms are pretty well guarded. They do have pretty decent locks on them. And there will be a robbery, and a few of the merchants are going to have their goods taken from them. However, that's not the task that I have for you. Actually, during this robbery, while other people are doing it, I need you to go in there and put something inside a different room. Do you think that you'd be up for the task of putting something to place within an account as opposed to take from one?
So we're to work in tandem with another team then?
Not in the least bit. As a matter of fact, it gets a little bit more complicated than that. So again, there will be something, and he gestures to the chest that's by his feet, being placed inside one of these rooms. It'll be in a separate building from where everything else is happening.
Otto speaks up and says, I've learned to ask a lot more questions before I begin putting things inside of other things.
And your questions?
What thing are we dealing with?
Specifically, this chest and its contents, obviously, will be going inside the room. The room that you're going to be putting it in, it's not that you'll have a key to this room. You won't be expected to break into it. It's just that the owner of this room doesn't want everybody to know that this chest was placed inside of it. And this is an opportunity for you to be able to put it in there without it being seen.
You can kind of, like, if anybody catches a glimpse of Thonk, you can pretty clearly see, like, gears turning in his head before he asks the question, who is the owner of this room?
I mean, I shouldn't be sharing names with you.
We shouldn't be committing common acts of banditry either, yet here we are.
Roy shrugs, and she's like, no one's really ever asked me to do anti-theft before. Sounds interesting.
Kind of like weighing out the room and seeing that he knows, it's very obvious to him that the four of you worked very well together. He knows the abilities of some of you, which is why some of you were selected, or at least most of you were selected initially to do this first job. And he knows that with or without that fourth person being added in, you worked very well together. And so you can obviously tell that the gears in his head, he doesn't really want to break up what's working so well. So he does concede to the questions that Thonk is asking and says, it belongs to the family Bursk.
Do we make any rolls to know who the family Bursk is?
None of you guys would be able to. I would say that for a knowledge history, you could have Rye do so.
Do it, Rye. Do it.
Do it right.
Yeah, let's do it. What am I making?
Knowledge history.
Knowledge history. Get ready for a failure. 13.
What was that? 13. So the name does ring a bell. You know that the patriarch of the house, of the family, the merchant family, is Boar. What exactly they do, what they're into, so on and so forth, you don't know. You just know the name. It's a merchant that's around here. You've never encountered them. You don't know anything, so on and so forth. The name does ring a bell. So a Boar Bursk is the patriarch of that family, and this would be him that you're working for.
Cool. And Rye just nods and she's like, checks out.
And this guy, Forston, what do we? You can refresh my memory. What do I in particular know about this guy?
So when you came here, you knew somebody else. You had a relationship
Yep.
with somebody else in this place, which is why you came to the city in the first
So
place.
I know very little about him in particular.
You know him. It was through a reputation that you knew Forston. So you knew that he had a good relationship with the other contact that you had.
Okay.
You know that he was known for more of seedier dealings than the other person that you know, but not something that you're like, I could never work with this man, especially with your own personal morals.
Yeah, no, that's not why I'm asking you. I'm not asking about morals. I've got a theory going, and I don't know if I like it.
Okay.
But at the same time, this particular job isn't really like atrocious in any way, so I keep my mouth shut.
All right. So he says it does get a bit more complicated than that, like I had said before. So the initial part of the job starts with the robbery. There will be those that are breaking in and robbing from a few different accounts. With that being said, that almost distraction, you're going to be going into a different building and you're going to be placing this inside of that family's stock. While you're doing for this to go as well as we want it to, there's another step that needs to be involved. And to this, he holds up the letter that you guys just retrieved. I need this letter to be switched out with a different one that somebody else might have. As a matter of fact, those that are going to be robbing this warehouse, they have the different rooms that they're supposed to go to, and this has a different set of rooms. I need this letter to be switched out with the first one for things to go well, and to certainly keep them out of the building that you're going to be in.
He's not being as sneaky as, but Grauman's probably lost. Just like letters in other letters in boxes and rooms.
Grauman doesn't understand how he's going to be helpful for any of this.
Yep. No, that's fine.
But
Like,
he's just drinking and chilling.
she's like,
So if you're-
switcheroo.
If you're able to follow me this far, the person who you're going to be switching, who has the other letter that you're going to be switching this one with, is a man that goes by the name of Zaris Nightblade. Now, for Zaris Nightblade, instantly Rye knows exactly who that is. And Addo, you're welcome to roll your knowledge check to see if you know him. The other two are able to roll a knowledge check as well, but it's going to be much more difficult for you because you don't really know the city anyway.
Join me in knowledge.
Where is my knowledge roll on my character?
On that list of skills on the left-hand side,
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's a history check.
just click the
Okay.
history. Yeah.
History, yeah, got it.
It's a 3.0 coming out. Sorry. Nice.
There you go.
And Thonk, you give it a try?
Oh yeah, I'll do it. I'm sorry. Didn't
No, it's
realize. You said it's history.
Mm-hmm. So far, we got Grama with a 9, Addo with a 9, and Thonk with a...
I gotta go. Here it
Oh,
is.
come on, do it.
Grauman's thinking real hard.
I clicked it. Did anything happen? Oh, 3!
Oh, yes.
Yes.
It comes up with nothing. So sadly, none of you guys are able to join Rye in the land of knowledge. And Rye, you know that Zaris is not just any half-elf, male half-elf, that lives in the city. He happens to work for an organization called the Night Masters. Now, for those of you that don't know, the Shadow Masters. The Shadow Masters are a thieves organization. It's a rogues guild that is very large in Thesk, which is the country that you're in. They actually have a very light presence in Fasant, but there are still peoples that work in this city for that organization. So the Shadow Masters work for their rulers, which are called the Shadow Lords. If you're familiar with Faerun, you might know of the Telflamar Shadow Lords, whatever. But they're very small in this city, and this happens to be at least who Rai knows to be the leader of the Shadow Masters inside the city. And he's saying, I need you to switch something within his possession with this letter right here. So, Rai, you have that information. They do not. Feel free to unpack that as you please.
I don't think I want to. I don't think Rye wants to tell the group that we're going to try and switch a letter from a master thief.
No, that's...
So she's just like, he's a pretty well-known thief. Yeah. Come on, you wimp. And she kind of like kicks the stool that Thunk is sitting on. Puts her hands on her hips.
So
Someone's
just
like thinking about the like thieves, and he's like, "Aren't they sneaky?"
I'll let Rye handle that one.
Yeah. So are we.
I'm not sneaky.
Grommen at least has self-awareness.
Rice says again, so are we, but then points at her and Addo.
Grommen shrugs. Well, fair enough, and he like chugs some more drink.
All right. So seeing that you guys are accepting that little bit of information, he does say that is the more crucial part. Now, I can tell you that it won't be tonight. It'll be tomorrow night that this situation happens. So sometime between now and then, you do need to make the switch of these two things. Now, in case you don't know where it is that Zaris lives, which Rai, actually, you do know.
Okay.
So he probably nods that, whatever it is. I can tell you, but it seems as though you know. And I can tell you that it is known that he tends to leave the things he needs within his nightstands next to his bed at his home. So you're going to have to go there to make this switch, because he doesn't keep things on his person unless it's time for him to actually need it. So the sooner probably the better with the switch. I know this is a lot to ask. I promise you the reward will be worth it. And I know there is a lot of cloak and shadow going on. But again, I'll make it worth it to you in the end. I picked at least most of you for a reason. I know that at least most of you can accomplish these tasks that I'm asking. Are you going to be able to help me in accomplishing my own goals?
Rye kind of just throws a look at Thonk again, because he's been procrastinating this whole situation.
No, know what?
I'm in.
When Thonk says that, you can see, for those of you that are more perceptive or more empathetic, you guys can see that there's an obvious like sigh that happens. Now, Forston does, he's a moderately stoic person, but he does show emotion. He is charismatic. He does know how to speak to people. So he doesn't show tons of emotion often. He doesn't wear his emotions on his wrist. But at this point in time, seeing how difficult it was to convince Thonk, you can see an obvious like sigh of relief happen from him to those of you that are more aware of those things. Maybe Grommen doesn't notice it. And he does with that. He actually says, "Thank you, brother."
I'll just nod.
Rye throws up a high five when Thonk says he'll do it, but it goes completely ignored, and then she and just like back down.
So there are some more details that you're going to need for this, and I have everything that you might need. So please feel free to ask questions. Now, before we go into this question asking back and forth RP moment, I will tell you the details of like what the address are of the person that lives there, the warehouse, so on and so forth. That's just going to be given to you. You just know it. So don't worry about actually memorizing that stuff. But if you have any questions for this actual NPC, feel free to throw them my way.
No, I think we're good to go.
I have no questions. I just merely leave him with the warning that if we get caught, I will not hesitate to throw names out there, because I will not be involved in a setup between rival houses, merchant houses, with an obvious war between houses being attempted to be set up by him or whoever he works for, and that I'm not stupid enough to see that that's not what this is.
He nods to your complaints.
Okay.
He nods to your warnings. I'm sorry.
Otto pipes up behind Thonk as well. And if you don't obey his commands, he'll plunge a dagger into your throat. So be careful.
Rye gets flashback. She winces.
Yeah. Seeing the facial reactions of everybody, with that being said, that actually hits Forston harder than you might think it would for somebody that wasn't there, because he sees the obvious horror in at least some of the faces in front of you, and perhaps even a little bit of a wry smile or pleasure on Thonk's face. So unless you guys have any other questions, you can kind of like head out and head back down to the bar area below for you to speak to each other.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Rye wants to be the last person in the room as we head out.
Sure.
That's funny because as you guys are heading out, he does say, Thunk, can I have a word with you? But he does see Rye kind of hanging back for a moment, and he says, unless, of course, you had something you needed to say.
Rye like realizes that everyone's listening, and she's like, no. And then as she's walking out, she leans in and whispers, and she's like, I know who this is, and I want double. And then she just leaves the room.
So with that, do a deception check.
Okay.
It just fell down. Ooh,
Nice.
Nice.
that's pretty good deception. Rolling a 16. So he takes that in and he nods to it slightly, but he doesn't make an obvious response to what it is that you say. And like you said, you just kind of run out of the room with the other three.
I do like a lips are sealed sort of motion after I say it, and then just like vanish out the room.
So when the other three leave the room and the door shuts behind them, it's just him and Thunk
Yeah.
standing back. He says to Thunk, I'd like to be honest with you, brother.
That would be a
The-
first.
The first job that I asked you to do was in preparation for this job right here. I'm pretty sure that part of it is obvious to you. I
Yeah,
wanted to make sure that you guys could handle what it is that I had to ask of you next. But there was a reason why I specifically asked you to do these tasks.
Because I wouldn't leave witnesses.
That's one of the reasons, but that's not the exact one that I needed. You have a contact here in this city that it needs to play a bit of a crucial role in what it is that's going to be happening. You see, you were talking about whether or not you're going to get caught. We actually do need people to get caught for this to work out well. But you guys cannot get caught. Well, one, you're doing a job for me. I wouldn't want to repay you with a knife in the back. And two, it'd be very difficult to convince you to do this job otherwise, right? So I need the others that are going to be robbing this place to be caught. Do you think that you can arrange that to happen for around when it is that your companions finish placing this chest inside that room?
Is my understanding that we're just sending Rye and Addo in to place a chest in their room?
Whether or not it was prior, that might be your understanding now.
Okay.
It would probably not be smart to send Grauman in.
Or
just
me.
saying.
Yeah, you and I are
Yeah.
just we are clunky,
We'd be
clunky
like
half.
sneaking around, like knocking everything over.
Oh, man, that'd be a great visual, though.
Oh, hilarious visual, horrible plan.
Just like a little box on his head.
Oh my gosh, Metal Gear Solid style. Yeah.
I ponder for a moment, and I look to him, and I just, like deadpan, I ask, are you the middleman or are you the one profiting?
I'm the middleman in this situation, he says begrudgingly, like not happy that you just called him out for his lower role.
It's not surprising. I'll nod. Whatever it is I'll say I know nothing of what these houses trade, whether legally or illegally. But if you're about to start a war between merchant houses, rivaling merchant houses, someone's going to benefit. And if it's not you, it's who you're working for. But there will be blood, and they will be hunting those who did it. That means we have to ensure that we do a great job in pinning this on those that are robbing. I demand more money.
I'm sorry, you said demand money? Mm-hmm. He says, and you will be paid well. I can guarantee you that.
I'll make every effort to ensure that they are the ones framed.
He nods to that, says, "Thank you again, brother," and says to you like a farewell words to Grumsh. Now, the way that he says them to you, it's almost like a lip service to Grumsh. Like, obviously, he's a half-orc. He knows a bunch of the common prayers, but it's almost more of a lip service. He's clearly not a very devout person.
Yep, that's fine. Okay, and with that, I will turn and leave, unless
Awesome.
you
So-
have something else to say.
Nope, that's all. So as you guys make your way downstairs, do you kind of just sit around the table quietly waiting for him to show up, or do you guys start conversation without him?
Yes, we're like, when Mama Thunk come? No, I'm just kidding. Alan is like drinking and chilling still. He doesn't know what's happening.
I'm in the middle of a very degrading Thonk impression that I'm doing for Rye as Thonk approaches. Oh, here I'm Thonk, and I think I know better than everyone else in the group. I understand the best strategies.
Rye's like
Robin
laughing.
is getting a kick out of that.
She's laughing, and then Rye sees like Thonk come down the stairs behind Addo, and she stops laughing.
Gromit is still laughing.
Otto is loving that Grauman is eating this up and continues on. Oh, I've got a best friend upstairs, and we're talking about secret business. I don't know what to do.
When he gets closer and as Rye's like kind of saying that he's like coming and like Gromit doesn't know, Gromit tries to do his attempt at Thonk and the same thing. He's like, I'm Thonk, and like Thonk shows up right then.
Oh, God. If I didn't...
Otto's got like a half paralyzed, half ecstatic face upon realizing now what the situation is.
God damn. If I didn't need you fuckers. I silently approach the table. I don't give a disapproving or approving look to anybody. And I will I'll just look to you knowing full well you haven't, but have you started discussing tactics yet?
Wait, so you walk up to the table, clearly witnessing these two obvious insults, and just nothing.
Yep, I give them nothing. Because I walk up and I see, like I said, like they just shut up when they see me, they stop. That's enough. So yeah, I'll walk up, I'll put my hands on the back of a chair and I'll lean into it. Again, knowing I'm asking a very rhetorical question, say, have you started discussing strategies yet?
Gromit's like, oh, yeah.
I nods.
Otto nods as well.
Yeah,
Of course.
like
So-
not a long nod, like little short nods.
Of course. What? Let me ask. What is your impression of this job? Ask to the table.
Right, like laughs a little bit when he says impression, but then like cuts it off. She's like, it's a snaky one.
You said it was safe to talk here, right?
Yes, yeah.
So-
Rye believes so, yes.
So then, why are you holding back? What do you think of the job? Are you aware of what we're getting into? What happens if we get caught?
Where is it's a complicated word, don't you think?
Maybe for Gromit.
Otto liked that one.
Rye kind of breaks it down, and she's like, she basically explains that they were just asked to steal a letter from the head of the Shadow Warriors, who are a thieves guild.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. All right.
And that in itself is a monumental task. However, she believes that Addo can handle the job and immediately delegates.
All right, so hilarious. But
Yeah, that's the plan.
yeah. So as you delegate out that to Addo, so like I said, there is a little bit of information that Rye does know about where it is that Zaris lives before, delegating out that task. You know that he actually has a room. It's a decent room in a really bad neighborhood, not Showtown, in a really bad neighborhood inside another part of Fassant. So it's a room that's that's upstairs from a tavern, so like second floor or whatever it is from a tavern, and it's a decent sized room, decently furnished and so on and so forth, because obviously he has a bit of money to do so. You do know that there are other Shadow Masters that live in that neighborhood. However, the likelihood of another one living in that building as well, or even in a building right across the way, is probably slim. But that is exactly where his room is upstairs from a tavern in a crappy neighborhood in a different part of Fassant.
Okay. I think Rye just relays this.
Okay,
sure.
Where it is kind of like in a thieves can't zone, but she knows which apartment he lives in. And if they can get there, then she's confident that she can steal the letter and switch it out.
Now, one of the reasons why it is that you would know where this person lives, because not obviously a lot of like rogues and whatnot aren't signing their address everywhere for people to know. It's by reputation. This person is somebody that is generally known not to be somebody to mess with. As a matter of fact, it goes to the point where the tavern downstairs, there's generally no brawls that happen down there. There's generally no thievery or anything like that happens in that tavern downstairs, because things like that might irritate him, and God forbid there's something so big that he were to intervene with it. It brings fear to locals that are more familiar with this scene, and you happen to be more familiar with the scene, not just any street urchin. Go ahead.
Cool. Yeah. So I mean, Ray kind of turns to the group and she's like, when do you want to get going?
We have 2 days. We have till tomorrow night. Whenever is most effective for you. You and Otto are going to be the ones that are most important in transferring the chest and the letter, of course.
Grumman is kind of offended by this. And he puts his mug down on the table and he's like, "What about me?"
Grumman, you and I are not sneaky. We have something else to take care of.
True. So, what plan for us?
We're gonna go take care of a couple of the thieves that'll be thieving the building nearby.
Take care of? And he kind of grins,
And I'll nod as you grin, yes, you got it.
And he sits back and he drinks some more of his ale.
Okay.
Awesome. So obviously the first thing you guys need to do is to switch out the letters. That's task one, because if the letters aren't switched, everything's going to fall apart very quickly. So you have at least 24 hours to get the letters switched out. It's still kind of daytime today from when you traveled back from before. I imagine your characters are a bit tired, so whatever task it is you want to do, whether it be later on, tonight or sometime early tomorrow day, you're probably going to want to rest between now and then. So actually, I do apologize, I forgot to say this, that, what's his name there, Forston did inform you guys when you were in the room that if you accepted, which you did the job, he had taken care of 4 other rooms upstairs. So rooms 1, 2, 4, and 5 are actually all rented out for the 4 of you, so you can just go upstairs and stay there if you want to, so you don't have to worry about finding a place to rest your head.
If Grumman knows this, he's getting crunk.
So however it is you want to handle these tasks, you know that the most important early on one to do is the letter itself, and maybe even something everybody can do together, maybe separate. You're gonna have to come up with your own plan. But so with all that information in hands, go ahead.
Well, doing the letter, that's really nothing that me and Grumman can help with.
Kind of is though, in case we run into muscle.
True, but if we run into muscle, then it's no longer a sneaking job, it's a murder
Yeah, I was
people
gonna say,
job.
if we run into muscle, that means we failed, right? More or less.
Well, no, because it's we could use you guys to start a bar brawl downstairs,
Yeah.
or some kind of useful distraction. So I think Rye acknowledges that she may need your help, and then kind of yawns and tells everyone to meet her back at the table at dark.
Awesome. So Rai says, it's more or less just delegate, saying, I need you guys to assist with this, and goes back upstairs. How about you, Grommen? You just starting to order drinks?
Yeah, if the plan is to not do it tonight, Grauman is going to be drinking.
Oh no, we're doing it tonight.
Oh, we're doing tonight? Okay. Then Grauman is going to follow whatever the plan is. He pretty much just does what people tell him.
All
He's
right.
not really listening. He's kind of just drinking and enjoying the really shitty music that's playing currently.
This place is terrible for musical talent.
Oh,
So yeah, if we want to head out tonight, that's fine. We can definitely start a little violence in the bar if that's what we need.
awesome. So then just to kind of push things along here, you guys more or less just decide tonight's the night that you need to do the letter thing. So you all know that your room's upstairs. You did kind of travel a lot last night, some of you while drunk, and then had to handle the situation you
Hey
did.
now, you said that in such a judging tone.
Yeah. So my apologies. Some of you having a better time than others.
There you go.
And you came back today, so you are a little tired. So you all kind of make, whether it be a nap or make it an early day to get up very early, you make your way upstairs. The question I just have to ask is, what time do you want to convene back down here? Are we talking like midnight or?
I think midnight is a good time. Yeah,
Yeah,
give
why
us some
not?
time to get over there and stuff.
All right,
Yeah.
cool. So it's one of those, it'd be pretty easy for everybody to get like a good rest and come down at that point in time.
Yeah.
So unless there's anything specific that anybody wants to do between now and the time that you reconvene, I just say you go upstairs, rest easily in your beds. They're, as comfortable as it can be for cheap beds in a crappy tavern inn, and make your way back down the next, later on that night. So nobody big plans or anything like that, or?
No big plans.
Perfect, awesome.
No crazy plans.
So the next day, everybody's feeling significantly better rested, a lot more alert. Maybe even Thonk is in a better mood. Maybe.
He's in his always mood.
Yeah, of course. And you make your way back down, reconvene around the table to actually discuss exactly what the plan is going to be. Or we can just head straight to the bar so you can kind of look at things at the actual establishment and make a decision from there.
Thonk is basically always going to be like, let's go now. So unless somebody stops, that is going to be his suggestion.
Cool. Yeah.
Mhm.
I think, assuming we all meet at the tavern, I think Rai brings us as a group to like an alleyway very close to this guy's apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And
So again, you know that this person lives here. For exactly which room is his, you wouldn't know that off the top of your head, though it's something that you might be able to glean from people who live in this neighborhood. But you are able to bring to an alleyway, we'll say like diagonally across the way from this actual building where the tavern is. Just to kind of obviously, your plan, I assume, is to be out of sight as you're discussing what your plan is. Now, the tavern itself does have a decent number of people inside of it. You can hear people talking, laughter, shouts, and whatnot happening inside. You can hear clinking of wooden mugs. You can, there's obvious noise going on inside there. Sorry, Addo, you don't hear any music. And you can see that the building that you're going to be taking care of is 2 stories tall. Now, the first floor is much wider than the second floor is. So there's who knows how many rooms upstairs, but probably not that many, because the second floor is much more narrow than the first floor is when the building was made. So you're in the alleyway across the way, and you believe that nobody's able to see you or hear you. You're being in your private little meeting.
Ramen, not even just talking in his normal voice, looks at Ryan's like, what now?
Right, turns around and shh, he sleeps up there. He sleeps up there.
Who sleeps up there?
The guy.
Why are you whispering?
Grommen, go get yourself a drink.
Right, likes the notion and kind of gestures to Grommen and Thonk to just go to the bar and drink. And
Ramen shrugs and I guess follows. Are you going, Thonk?
I'm going with you.
Okay.
We're going to go drink together.
I think Grommen just being himself will be plenty distraction. Is there any way up onto rooftops or up to the second floor that we can see, just by analyzing the building.
So with a quick look around as you were walking to the alleyway you're in and where you can see from the alleyway that you didn't necessarily do a whole way around to walk the perimeter of the building, you're able to, there weren't any ladders or anything to easily get up there. There aren't any necessarily stacked barrels to get up there on that immediate building. It doesn't mean it's not impossible, just maybe a little bit more difficult as you climb up the side itself. However, once you get over that lip, there is that first floor's roof. While slanted is a roof that you could stand on. The building next door, some of them, because there's multiple buildings around it, it's a very tightly packed, poor neighborhood. There are some of the buildings are one floor, some of the buildings are 2 floors, and some of them are much easier to get onto than this one.
Okay. So I just motioned to Addo to follow me and hand him like a little bandana.
Aww.
And I just tie it around my face and kind of pull it up.
Otto
And,
gets really excited about this and eagerly ties the bandana.
I was hoping he was gonna like put it around his forehead instead. Like, yes, it's cool.
we just look for the easiest building, like kind of surrounding the tavern that we can climb up onto.
Absolutely. As the two of you are making your way over to this building that you quickly analyzed to be the easiest one, Addo thinks it's very funny how conspicuous you still look with huge ram's horns despite your face being covered. Yeah, no, so,
just for clarification real quick, where I'm sitting, the plan for me in the bar is to there's got to be stairs leading up to where they are, right?
yes.
The goal is to have a drink that Grommen, I'm assuming, brings back to me. I'm going to be leaning up against the wall near the stairs. I'm going to be faux drinking and just listening for
He's
anything to go
faux
wrong.
drinking.
Faux drinking.
For reals drinking.
Exactly. But yeah, I'm basically going to be leaning up against the wall, one eye on Grommen and one ear on the stairwell. That's it.
So did you two walk in like together, or
Yeah.
did you walk in like together same time but not together? Because then
We're
you
holding hands. No, just
The plan, I was going to be following in Grommen close enough where it, like, people could perceive that we were friends or we walked in together. Doesn't really matter.
okay, yeah, and then you kind of go your separate ways after you get your drinks or whatever.
For now, yeah.
Okay, awesome. So you're leaning against the wall. You're obviously just trying to listen to whatever's happening over there or whatever. What is Grommen doing aside from drinking?
So what else is going on in this bar that
So you are, the bar itself is rather busy. Inside of it, like I said, it's not a very good neighborhood. So there's a little bit of gambling going on at a table over there, people playing dice. There's a table over here where people are just kind of like having their quiet little conversations or arguing. And then there's just people who sit around and drinking and having a good time. So it's a typical tavern where you see just a different majority of people. One of the things that you can see compared to where it was you're spending most of your time in the city before everybody was very Asian. We were in the Shao town. Very few people weren't. Here, not only are people not Asian, they're more typical for the what you would see inside Thesk, in the nation of Thesk. You also see a little bit more of the other races here as well. So whether it be a dwarf over in the corner, there's half-orcs everywhere, but you even see like a half-elf over there, a full-blooded elf nearby, a few halflings, a gnome. So you see a bunch of mixed different peoples in this area. So you walk in, and again, just boisterous tavern. There is no stage area. There's no musician performing or comedy show or anything like that happening in this establishment. Lots of drinking, busy.
Okay. Well, he's definitely drinking, and he's got some dollar bills now. So he's gonna get in on this this dice game
Awesome.
while the other stuff's going on.
So when you walk up to the table to start playing your dice game, are we like dropping gold pieces? Or are you working with like silver copper as you throw it down to place a bet?
So he might be stupid when it comes to other things, but when it comes to the gambling life, he's gonna just test his water, see how his opponents are. And if he thinks that he can wreck it, then he'll go a little all in.
Awesome. So just so I know, what is your goal with the gambling here? Are you, because you're obviously hoping to make a distraction or whatever, are you hoping to lose money and make a scene with it? Are you hoping to win a lot of money and make a scene with it? Well, everybody wants to win money, but what's Grommen's goal here with his very critical thinking 7 intelligence?
He's just gonna play it normal and then when he gets the signal from Thunk, shit is just gonna go down, and he will assess the situation when it occurs.
So I just want to make sure this is clear. As Addo and Rye are climbing up the house adjacent to this to get this thing started, Thonk is leaning against one wall, watching Gromit waiting for the signal, and Gromit's sitting there gambling, waiting for Thonk to make the signal.
Well, they're in an adjacent house. They're not upstairs.
They're going to go upstairs.
Okay,
We're gonna
gotcha.
go to an adjacent house and like jump over.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
My thought process is that Gromit is so loud that it will actually help them with like stealth and sleight of hand because people will just hear Gromit in the town.
Yeah. Oh, I have a plan. If like I hear things going down up there and you need a distraction, I have a plan.
Okay. So the building is very. You do know, Thunk, that the room is very loud. Like I said, it's very busy. So it's very difficult to hear most things. Just so you're aware.
Okay. Yep.
But
Gotcha.
let's bring our attention over to the other ones for a second here. So the two of you, like I said, make your way over to the building that you quickly assess to be easy to climb. That's adjacent to this one, and obviously you're looking for like a gap that isn't too big between the one building and the next. So I assume you're looking to jump or whatever it is that you're looking to do, and you make your way to the building and start going to climb it. So roll for me in acrobatics or athletics, whichever you prefer. Just decide.
What is your dex? I don't know.
It is 14.
Okay, mine too. I think it might be easier for one of us to assist the other one first, and then.
Oh, okay.
So we'll kind of do it one at a time. So I think like Rye is assisting Addo first, to climb, and then she'll attempt to climb afterwards. If
Well, there was climbing involved.
Helps-
Ramen would have been
helps
good at
roll
climbing.
Rye has a -1 athletics and a acrobatics of 2,
Yeah.
whereas Addo has a acrobatics of 2 and athletics of 2. So it really could go either way.
Cool.
Should I just go ahead and roll athletics?
I think Rye's intention was to go up first.
Yeah.
My intention was to see if I could give him like advantage or anything.
Oh, my apologies. You want to give him like a hoist?
Yeah, like a hoist.
Okay, now this should be relatively. He's pretty light, but do me a favor. Just make a strength check for me, and at the same time, you can make yourself athletics or acrobatics check there, Bear.
Okay.
Rip strength check. Oh, this is safe. All right.
Nice
there we go.
roll.
Oh man, that's amazing.
I just go flying, right?
Yeah.
You've grown wings, Bear. Good job.
Yeah, all right.
It's almost like I
Cheerleader
feel like
style, you put your hands in the thing and you make that perfect crest. And
Yeah.
I think it's like Rye feels like she needs to help Addo, but by the time she goes to like look her hands down, she looks and he's just on the roof, and she's like,
Just smiling and waving out
yeah.
there.
I'm just like, oh great.
So the nimble little halfling climbs up there pretty quickly while Rye figures out what's due. So my question is, did either of you have in your general packs rope or anything like that, or is there another means you want to use? Go.
I've got rope.
Awesome.
I was just gonna climb up after him, but I've failed that roll miserably.
So you try to do acrobatics your way up. So using, instead of athletics. So whereas he actually climbed up the side of the building using, just the imperfections of the wall itself and how it was built to get up there and got it there pretty nimbly with his little fingers. You actually tried to use stuff that was nearby and kind of climb up it and balance on it and, more nimbly get up there as opposed to raw climbing a wall because your physical prowess is kind of lacking. But in doing so, you actually kind of stumble a bit and fall back down. Now, there's a little bit of a bang as one of the barrels knocks over, one of the boxes knocks over, but it's nothing extreme or loud that could be heard inside the tavern because of how loud the tavern is, though other people nearby may have heard it.
Okay. Rye attempts to make a second acrobatics.
By herself, okay?
Yeah.
All right. So this time she's able to do a similar situation, though spending a little bit more time to make things better balanced. Climbs up there and is able to kind of get up and is dangling from the roof. At this point, Addo can kind of come over and lend a hand to hoist you up a little bit. And in doing so, you actually notice something about Addo you didn't realize. For a small person, he's actually in pretty good shape. He's actually in pretty darn good shape. So.
Cool.
So sorry. Not in Gromit shape. Okay, let's just be clear.
Still like a fourth of Gromit, aren't I?
Yeah. Yes.
like your whole
Well, like-
body is like the size of his arm.
Yeah.
Nice.
So the two of you are on top of that roof, and there is a little bit of a gap between this one and the next one. What is it your plan is to do to get from here to there?
I think Rye just starfishes for a sec, and she's like, "Give me a sec." It's like,
Otto looks back and forth between the gap and her, like really wondering whether or not she's going to do something that's going to make this feasibly easier to do, but also sort of thinking, what the hell's going on?
yeah, Rye just like sits up. She's like, "Okay." She like jumps to her feet. She's like, "You ready to jump?"
Are you talking to yourself or to Bear? Or
I'm
to
doing Ada.
Otto?
Yeah, okay.
A little of both.
Otto was taken back a little bit. He looks around, actually. If I could I look around and maybe see if there's anything around us that we could utilize to help clear the gap a little easier?
Yeah, so like make a bit of a thing. So
Yeah.
in doing so, you kind of look around a little bit. Do me a favor. Roll me an investigation check really quickly, please.
Okay.
While Ada's looking around, she's doing like practice squats, getting ready.
15.
Nice. So you do look around, you do see some stuff nearby. Not only do you find a big bit of wood that it's kind of narrow, so it's not necessarily the easiest thing for Rye to walk on. I mean, you've got little feet, you're a little person. It would be easier for you to walk on. You also find bits of heavy stuff that's on top of this roof as well, junk or whatever that might be up here that you could even use to almost anchor this. So it's almost like a plank or diving board off the side of this building. However, your character is not dumb. Neither of your characters are dumb. You do know that if that was something that you wanted to, it's not long enough to bridge the entire gap. And if you were to go to the end of that and try to like launch off of it, the amount of force might be enough, depending on the weight behind, to knock this loose and knock that to the ground below. So it's just kind of something you keep in mind as you plan this out.
All right. Having gathered all this info, I come back to Rye. Hey, before we die, maybe we should try this instead. And I motion to the items I found, the plank, indicating we could maybe try to anchor it down.
Rye just kind of nods, and she's like, "Yeah, good thinking."
So
Then Rye concocts a brilliant idea that she would be the anchor on the plank, and then she can just throw rope over to Addo, and
Okay, yeah.
go that way.
Yeah.
all right. So she decides to be the plank. You did find that heavy stuff from before. Do you feel as though Rye is a good enough anchor by herself?
I'm going to try to persuade Rye to maybe combine the efforts of the two.
Just sit on the heavy object.
Yeah, something like that.
You don't
Rye
necessarily.
agrees.
Okay, there you go. So, so you get this set up now. In doing so, you are almost as soon as you start moving stuff, you're making noise. One, you're on top of somebody's roof, and it's the middle of the night. And then two, you're moving large, heavy things. And again, the two of you aren't exactly the strongest people in the group. So do me a favor and make me a stealth check, just to try to do this as sneakily as possible.
Okay.
Good.
Come on, big
Oh,
boy.
right.
Oh.
Ooh, nice.
Nice.
The two of you, as soon as you identify a creaky board, which sadly Addo is usually one to find it, you do the best you can to avoid it to the best of your ability. Luckily, Addo is relatively light, even if he's misstepping often, and Rye is quick to remember where those steps are and avoids them deftly. So the two of you do the best you can to move these things over and kind of set them up. But the thing is, as you kind of near completion of setting this stuff up, others do, walking by, hear a little bit of the noise from whatever somebody is making, and their attention is pulled over to where it is. So one more time, make me another stealth check to make sure that no passersby see what it is that you're doing. Awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, there you go. You're good. So nobody sees. They just kind of stop and look that way for a second, like, oh, kind of slow down, looking up in that direction. Like,
I think when we hear like footsteps stop, we just kind of like stop doing everything and wait till they
Just freeze.
move on. Yeah, just like
awesome. So now you have something heavy, barrel, crate, doesn't matter, on top of a relatively thin plank of wood, and Rye, whether it be flopping down on top of it or sitting on top of whatever it is she's doing to assist.
Just stand on top of the box.
No, please just be like sprawled across everything, face down.
Starfished on the box.
You're planking. You're planking. All right, you're bringing planking back.
So as you get this all set up to go, you're kind of getting yourself ready, Addo, to make these several steps in the jump. Now I do have to ask your tactic here. Are you trying to get to as far to the end as possible before you jump, or are you trying to maybe get partway through to reduce the amount of weight you're pushing down? Like, what's your tactic here?
I'm looking, I think identifying the situation, I know I'd probably be a lot better off jumping maybe about 3/4 of the way out on the board.
3/4 of the way out on the board? Awesome. So before we continue with the two of you, that did take some time. The other two, some time has passed. You've seen zero signs from either each other or from upstairs or otherwise. How are we feeling about the situation happening? Grauman, just really quickly, my apologies. As for you and your ability to win, do you have no, I get this. Actually, Grauman, after several hands with the game, you break even as of right now. You have neither gains nor lost any of your money, and there's been a bunch of rounds of the dice happening. So you're doing pretty decent, and you're in pretty good mood, getting your buzz on.
All right, cool. So I guess as the time has progressed, he's drinking more. He's getting a little louder. He's making sure to make a lot of noise because he was told just do whatever. So he's like, smacking his mug around, kind of nudging other people, trying to cheat when he can.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, then can you
Trying
do me
to cheat? Oh, Jesus Christ.
for the future, though not right now? Do me a favor and roll me a sleight of hands check, and we'll bring the attention back to the other two while you do that.
Cheat when he can.
What? That is the sneakiest fucking barbarian of all time.
Why did we not bring you along?
Why is Grauman not throwing the hat?
Grauman dumb, Grauman loud, and then she's like doing card tricks with her hand. She's like, "Whoa!"
Just like
Hey man, if Grauman knows one thing, it's gambling and arm wrestling.
Gambling,
drinking.
honestly, picking pockets, picking locks,
The typical bash your face in rogue.
Of course, yeah, Grauman, typical half orc. All right.
Pick a card, any card.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay.
Pick card, end card.
What I like to imagine is he's like nudging people, but like when he's nudging them, when he's drinking, he's acting like he's merry and everything, but he's really like swapping people's dice.
Yeah. Or if a roll looks like it's gonna be bad, doing a good old,
Oh yeah, hitting the table and it like moves a little extra.
Yeah.
Basically, you're on a horrible losing streak, but you've cheated back to even.
Yeah.
Is what's happening.
Oh, Grauman's awesome. Okay, so you guys, so back on the other side. So what I need is actually 2 rolls from you there, Halfling, and I really hope you rubbed your shiny coin before you did this. One.
Preceding the events, I do let out a little "Bless me, Lady Tamora."
Before you make this very important roll, we'll take a break.
Look at this guy.
First hour's up. We'll be back with hour 2. Hope you guys are enjoying. We will be back in about 3 to 5 minutes. We got some music to play for you, though. We'll see you guys then.
Cliffhanger.
Bless me, Lady Tamora.
Bless me, my lady.